Hi, today I'll be showing you how to configure a small Active Directory environment on Windows Server 2008. And for this demo I'll be using two systems, one Server 2008 and the second one Windows 7 as a client which will register on the domain. So let's start with some operation like assigning a computer name which will be easy to remember. In our case I've chosen server 1 and you can see we are in the work group. And also for our server we need to assign a static IP. Let's take ncpa.cpl to access to the console. Right click on it, properties, IPv4. Be sure to disable the IPv6 to avoid some conflict in the configuration of IPv6. Properties, use the following IP address. So we'll take our IP as, let's take 192.168.50.1 default subnet mask. The default gateway, let's take the same IP since we'll be configuring all our roles on the same machine, 50.1. but in the real environment you need to set the router or your modem IP address. Use the following DNS server address. So our DNS role also will be installed on this machine, so let's take the same IP, 192.168.50.1. that's all for the basics. So now we'll install the ADDS role. So let's start by clicking on run OOBE to start the server manager, the ICT console. Add role, click on next. Here on the option here, just tick Active Directory Domain Services or ADDS. Over here on the right hand side you have a little description of the role. So let's click on next now. Here it'll give you a brief introduction of that and some additional information. So that's all for now. We just need to install the role. For the configuration we'll be doing later. Here we are, the installation is succeeded as you can see here, so it's over. Let's close it, close this one. Okay, but we are still in work group. Now let's configure now the domain DC promo. Let's type by start run, type DC promo to open the wizard. So here, welcome to the Active Directory Domain Service Installation Wizard. Tick use advanced mode installation, then click on next. Here you have a little description of the feature available to Windows Server 2008. Over here, choose the deployment configuration. Click on create new domain in a new forest, since it is our first DC domain controller. Click on next. Here this is the most important. You have to choose the FQDN. FQDN means a fully qualified domain name. So in our case we'll take one example like ivory.com. Okay, let's take this name, ivory.com. Click on next. It's checking whether the name is not in use on the network, verifying also the NetBIOS name. Here it has taken by default ivory as the NetBIOS name, so let as it is. Click on next, and here we have to set the forage functional level. So here it means that whether our actual domain controller will be compatible with the previous release of the OS. Means if there is any other DC which are on Windows 2003 or 2000 or even NT, but now will set to Windows 2003. Means our DC will be compatible to interact only with Windows Server 2003 or 2008 or later version. Let's click on next. Here also same thing, click on next, and here it requires to install a DNS server in order to resolve the IP or the domain, the FQ DNS. Okay, let's click on next. Here is giving a warning since we don't have a DNS, so it's giving a warning about this missing information. So we'll just click on next in the case you want to continue. Do you want to continue over here? You click on next. Yes. And over here we have to set the path for the database and the log file folder. So let it as it is, since we don't require to make any changes in that. Click on next, and here over here you need to set the password for the restore mode. Means in the case you want to do any troubleshooting or any system restore after a backup, so the password should meet the Windows complexity requirement. So that means it should contain at least one capital letter, small letter, special character, and at least one digit, and should be at least 8 characters. So over here you have a review of all the settings. You can make any changes at this level now. So if nothing else, click on next. That's all. We'll wait for configuration now. So you can just tick here reboot on completion, so that the PC will restart by itself. Here we are, the computer has restarted now, and as you can see now the login name has been changed to ivory_administrator. So that means we are logging in the domain ivory. Okay, now our domain is set, but small settings still remaining. We need to set the DNS in order to avoid any name resolution problem. Just click on run. Okay, here we are. Unfold server 1. For the forward lookup zone, it has been set automatically. Here, as you can notice, that ivory.com, everything is set, but you need to do for the reverse lookup zone. So right click on reverse lookup zone, new zone. Here click on next, set a primary zone here, and to all DNS servers in this domain. Click on next, IPv4 reverse lookup zone. Also click on next. Over here you need to set the network ID as it was for this machine, 192.168. It was 50. Yeah, 50 over here. Allow only secure dynamic update. Leave the default settings, as we do the update directly in the case of any change in the DNS record. Okay, so now let's assign one host to this reverse lookup zone. Right click on the new zone you have created right now, select new pointer, Here you can either type the IP address in the case you remember, or you can go here, click on browse, click on server. It is the name of your computer for lookup zone. Click on here, domain name Ivory, and let's search for the name of the machine, server 1. Double click on it. Here you can notice that the network the host ID has been set to 1, so the full IP is set now. Click on OK, and that's all now. Okay, so what we'll do now, so let's create now a user we'll use to log in from the client side. So go to run, type dsa.msc to access to the Active Directory user and computers. So by default it's like that. Let's click on Ivory and float that one. Go into user. As you can see on the right side, some default user and groups have been created by default. Right click on user, new user. So let's take U1. Over here U1 also, use an logon name U1@ivory.com. so that's all. You type the password, as it should make the complexity name requirement. Okay, and tick user must change password at the next login. You tick this both. User cannot change password and password never expired. Next, finish. And that's all for the server side. Now let's switch to the Windows 2007. Here you have to set the IP address and go to ncp.cpl. It should be on the client should be on the same network as the server, so that they will be able to communicate to each other. So let's assign this IP 50 dot let's take 5 default. Gateway we don't require preferred DNS server. We'll use our DNS server IP address 50.1 here. Okay, now let's go to I'll show you one thing. As you can see over here, nothing is there, only client 1 and guest account. So now we'll go to properties, change settings, click on change over here again, and over here just select domain and type the name of domain. It was ivory.com. So for the first registration we'll need the administrator username and password, the server admin and password, administrator 123. So for the first registration you need the admin name, or any other user we have the delegation control to register any new member of the domain. So here you can see the welcome message, welcome to ivory.com domain. So that's all now. Over here you need to restart the PC so that the change will be applied. Restart now. That's all. Okay, now as you can see, now the login screen has changed. It's not the usual Windows 7 login screen that you know. And over here also you have PC1 / client 1. As you can remember, we have created one user called U1. We'll be using that one, U1, and the password. Here you can see logon to Ivory, so you just need to type the username, that's all. Okay, now you can notice that the desktop is completely new. You can also see the icons, everything. and we can also go to, you can see user account. Nothing now is like before. Okay, we'll also access to computer properties. You can see over here the computer name is there, and the full computer name is pc1.ivory.com, and also the domain is ivory.com. So that's all for this demo. Hope you enjoy it.